Hello, happy Saturday. Welcome, everyone, to this marketing masterclass with me, Christine McAlister, the founder of Life with Passion. I am so excited that you've joined me today. Really looking forward to sharing information about what has worked so well with these types of online ads for myself and my marketing clients over the last few years. And I am just excited to also get to answer your questions. This is a topic that I consider myself an expert in because I have worked on it for so many years. In fact, I've been working on online marketing since before these types of ads even existed. So I've had the opportunity to work with them from the beginning. And this is information that I've only previously shared with my paying clients. So what we're going to do today is dive into the material. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself so you know who you're listening to. We're going to dive right in. We're going to talk about some high-level things, and we're going to spend a good amount of time on your questions. So the reason that I'm holding this masterclass in marketing today is because these are the things I hear women who are starting out or growing their businesses asking about all the time. And I have the answers to share with you. So, like I said, I've been working in this online marketing space for 11 years, and I have spent tens of thousands of dollars of my money and my clients' money testing, refining, and getting amazing results for all of us. And so now I know how to do that on a tiny budget because I've had the opportunity to experiment with much, much larger budgets, figure out what works well, what doesn't, and how these ads work for various different kinds of markets and audiences. Sound good? So what I'm going to start with is telling you a little bit about me. As I said, my name is Christine McAlister. This is me. My company is called Life with Passion. I am an animal lover. I'm a horse owner, an Arabian horse owner. Became a horse owner as an adult, and also actually a dog lover and dog owner. Both of those things were dreams that came true for me as an adult for the first time. I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade, but I also know the feeling of working in jobs that left me feeling desperate enough to wish that I would get laid off so that I could have the unemployment to collect, to have a little seed money to start my business because I was too scared to do it on my own for many years, or even that something outside of me, even maybe something drastic or tragic like getting in a car accident, would take me out of my job so that I wouldn't have to do it anymore because I felt completely stuck. I felt completely discouraged, dreading having to do this for the rest of my life, knowing that I wanted to work for myself and just not seeing the clear path. So I vividly remember those feelings, and now what I do is I help women to get out of that feeling and to start a business that they love. I have, as part of my freelance career, I have been to the Olympics as a freelancer 3 times, most recently to the most recent Olympics in Sochi in 2014. I've started 4 successful businesses. Life with Passion is the 4th. And I've helped clients in totally varied industries to generate multiple 6 figures in sales as an online marketing expert, doing the things we're talking about today. I've always been an overachiever, but like I mentioned, I got lost and felt very stuck after I got out of school when the only path that I could see was to just go get, quote unquote, a real job. I've also been a professor at the undergraduate and graduate levels. I've been a career counselor, helping others to find and achieve their dreams in a traditional 9-to-5 setting. And I always knew my real passion was to help other women get the freedom of time and schedule and travel, which I love to do, just like I have. So after spending years feeling unsettled and frustrated and wondering what was wrong with me, that I couldn't just be happy with a normal job like the people I looked around in my workplace, I finally quit. I started these businesses, and I found my calling, I found flexibility, I found freedom, and I've created the life that I want to live. I started Life with Passion out of this journey a year ago after going through a major tragedy in my life, and that was the loss of my first daughter, Maeve, to an unexplained full-term stillbirth. So you can imagine the shock, the trauma, the grief, the craziness that my life was when I went literally from going through finishing a baby shower and putting the car seat in the car one day to 24 hours later being admitted to the hospital, knowing that she was already gone. I was going to have to deliver her, and I was also going to have to plan her funeral. Life with Passion was born out of Maeve's loss because it changed my world and my perspective in a way that nothing else ever has or probably ever could. Her short life changed everything for me. I got really, really, really clear about what I wanted, about what was important, and about what I wanted my legacy to be in the world. And the last year, I've stopped waiting for the life of my dreams. I've stopped playing small. My husband and I moved into our dream house. We took a 2-week trip to Europe. These things were possible because out of starting Life with Passion and living my true dreams and helping others do the same, my income tripled. I got very clear on my purpose, and I am now using that to change the world by working with women around the world. So I take all my skills, all my experience, all my energy to help high-achieving, driven, motivated women who are dreaming and know they're meant for more, but are feeling stuck, to quickly build a business out of their unique passions and skills, to help them find and serve their perfect clients using those gifts that only they have so that they can leave their jobs without a drop in income like I did. When I finally quit my job, I replaced my income in the first month, and that's what I teach. I know it can be done, and that's what I show my amazing, amazing, amazing clients how to do. And all of this, and you may not guess it from hearing my excitement and energy on the phone, but I'm a total dyed-in-the-wool introvert. So all this is possible, even if you're like, I hate networking, I hate being out there, whatever. All this is possible. And guess what? Online marketing is one of the best ways to do it. So I'm really glad you're here if you are an introvert as well. And if you're an extrovert, it's an awesome, awesome, awesome way too to reach the biggest audience possible. So like I said, this content is going to be a high-level overview, and then we're going to get to your specific questions because I know that you have them. This is a very, very, very deep topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an introduction, and then I'm happy to answer your questions in as much depth as possible. So start typing them into the Q&A. So start going ahead and raising your hand if you have a question, pressing *2 to raise your hand or pressing the raise hand button. And I'll see that, and I will get to it as soon as we get to the Q&A. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. As you saw, what we're going to talk about today is Facebook or Google Ads. Which one is better for your business? So these are both very, very, very powerful tools, both ones that, as you know, people pay millions and millions and millions upon millions of dollars to use and make work for their business and drive them customers and sales. I have used both over the years, and these are both the platforms that I recommend starting with if you're just going to start very focused, which I always recommend, picking one thing or two things and doing them very, very well. And knowing which ones to pick, that's important too. Now, 99% of the time for my clients and for myself, I recommend and use Facebook ads. Why? For many, many reasons, but among them, the targeting is absolutely fantastic. I've found it to be cheaper per response, and you're reaching people where they already are. So you don't have to force them to go to your website to get your stuff in order to get in front of them. People are on Facebook. 2 billion people are on Facebook, right? I mean, it's more than the population of multiple countries combined. I mean, it's just the number is staggering. And so when it comes to targeting, Facebook is extremely good at getting your ad in front of the people you want to see it. So as a consumer, this is kind of scary, right? Because we know that they're collecting our information. So my project manager just got engaged recently, and she changed, her information to her relationship status to engaged, right? So now she's getting all these ads for wedding-related things. And she also talks about it in her posts. So Facebook takes note of all that. They own that information because we publish it and read it on Facebook. Scary as a consumer, but from an advertiser's perspective, it's fantastic, right? So if you're both, you sort of learn to live with that dichotomy because it really allows you to become a savvy advertiser. And from the consumer's perspective, they're only seeing ads that are relevant to them, as opposed to just broadcasting a television commercial and whoever happens to be watching it sees it. We have the ability to show our ads only to a very, very niched market. So I've got a marketing client, private marketing client, who sells shirts for field days and things like that. And so we're able to reach only people in the certain states where their brand is known, who are decision makers, often PTO, PTA members, often PE teachers. We're able to reach those decision makers and only pay for those eyes to be on those ads. And you can also exclude people as well, so extremely targetable. You're reaching people where they are. People on the internet, all of us included, like to be lazy. We like to interact in a very intuitive way. Google's search engine, they're constantly updating the algorithms to make it act more and more like a human brain would, so that it makes sense to us. And so with Facebook ads, you're reaching people where they are. Now, Google ads are more directly responsive. And what I mean by responsive is they respond to what a person is looking for. They are not predictive of what you think they might be looking for. So when you search on Google, you see ads when you go on and search for a blue dress for sale. You're going to see some ads from people who have put in, well, I have some great blue dresses for sale. I want people to click, and I'll pay for that click to get them to my website. Now, the reason I like Facebook ads is, again, you are more predicting who might like your stuff rather than needing to guess who will be searching for what terms. And this Google ads can be very, very powerful for certain industries, especially one-off type of purchases that don't happen very often, that people might be looking to build a house or buy a house or those types of things. I've worked with builders and realtors in those types of ads, but when it comes to Facebook ads, most of us are building brands. And so we want to build brand recognition. We want people to know, like, and trust us because that's who buys from us. Often we want people to join our list. We want people to interact with our free material. We want people to join our communities. And this ongoing type of relationship building is what Facebook ads, if utilized properly, can be very, very powerful at. Okay, so that is why one of the reasons why I recommend Facebook ads 99% of the time. Now, that said, your industry may be different. I've mentioned a couple of exceptions. I'm happy to answer your questions and think through that with you. Feel free to ask me that in the Q&A or later on, raise your hand and ask a question. Okay, so from here on out, explaining that almost all the time, I recommend Facebook ads. I am going to move forward with an explanation of Facebook ads and go a little bit more in depth on those because I feel like that's where you're going to get your best information. So when it comes to Facebook ads, which type of ad is best? This is a question I get a lot. So the way that Facebook divides up your ad types is with this screen. If you go into Create Ad, this screen will pop up for you. Now, this does not include the little blue boost post button that you get if you own any kind of business page. I do not recommend using that button. I do not recommend it because you do not get the targeting that you're going to get if you go in through the Ads Manager, which is what you're looking at here. So you'll see that the first objective is boost your posts, but just plain boost posts like you can straight from your page, it's meant to be really easy. It's meant to be mindless. They handle all the back-end stuff for you. You have a couple of targeting options, but it's not going to make the best use of your money. It's worth the time to go in and use the ads manager and really target down further. So I recommend skipping the blue Boost Post button and using the ads manager to choose your objective and move through the ads manager flow. And this is the first thing you're going to see. Choose the objective for your campaign. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the objectives I most often use for my clients, regardless of industry. Sometimes we will boost a post if it's one that we want people to see and one we want them to show up as a post as opposed to as an ad. We will use the boost post, and that's something that you publish on your page most of the time and then come in here and boost. I do not recommend that you use the promote your page option for objectives. This is to get more likes for your page. This used to be a popular option in the beginning of Facebook ads, and I've used it before, but I do not recommend it for you, and I'll come back to why. Send people to your website. This is if you simply want them to click to hit your website and maybe read a blog or something. Like you just want their eyeballs on your website to get familiar with it. Increased conversions on your website is the one that I use most often for myself and for my clients. It also requires the most technical knowledge and setup because you have to place a coding pixel on the correct page of your website. And one thing I'll say about Facebook ads, their support is not something that I can recommend. My experiences with Facebook support have been numerous over the years, and they have not been positive. So they don't have to provide great support. So guess what? That's not where they spend their money. That's not where they put their resources. So you can find a lot of tutorials and things like that outside of Facebook, and often those are more helpful. YouTube videos that I'll walk you through, support forums, all those types of things. But just know that going in. This might be something that you want a little bit of support with if you're not real techie with the back end of your own website. But basically, in order to track the conversions on your website, what you might do is you might say, I want somebody to sign up for my email list. And so perhaps they're hitting a certain page that asks them to opt in exchange for some kind of a free training that you're offering. I offer an extensive free 4-part training, for instance, that I did on how I quit my job without a drop in income. And so I offer that for free, and people will choose, okay, I want to get that, and in exchange, I'm going to give you my email so you can send it to my email. Now, once they enter their email and they click, yes, send me my training, it goes to a thank you page, a second page to let them know, confirmed, your email's coming, yay you, good job. And when they hit that page, that is what tells Facebook they've converted. They have achieved the objective you chose in the increased conversions objective, okay? So that's when you get charged, and you get charged a certain amount per conversion, depending on a lot of factors that I'm happy to go into if you want, but I'm going to wait for you to ask that question so we don't get too bogged down. I am going to answer a question about how much all this costs in a minute. Increase conversions on your website. This is a really accurate way for you to find out how much it's costing you per customer, per lead. And so it's way more accurate than just clicks to website. Because clicks to website, all that requires is that they clicked on the ad and they went to your website. It doesn't matter how long they stayed. It doesn't matter if they bounced off, which is the term for someone hitting your website and then leaving very quickly, the bounce rate. It doesn't matter. All they had to do was load that website, and you get charged for it. So that is an option to use, but I always recommend increased conversions on your website because Facebook also uses its algorithm to figure out who is likely to convert based on their past behavior with Facebook ads and all those things, and it shows those ads to people who are more likely to convert. Because ultimately, Facebook wants you to spend a lot of money with them, and so they want you to get the objective that you have here. All right, the reason I do not recommend the promote your page option is because with either a clicks to website, the send people to your website option, or the increase conversions on your website option, you're going to have a little button that says like page as part of that, and you don't pay for those likes. That's like a secondary bonus that you get when someone sees your ad. They have the option to like your page, even if they don't click to your website or increase conversions, become a customer. They can like your page. And so you're not actually paying for those likes, and those people are a lot more likely to be quality likes, and it's less expensive while you're building your list as well. So it's dual purpose. I recommend always using one of those. So those are my recommendations on which type of ad to use. All right. Remember, you can submit your questions. You can raise your hand. I'm going to come back and answer any of these things that might trigger something for you as we go through. So these are the objectives. The first three are the ones that I most commonly use and find the biggest success with. I always like for there to be a tangible outcome that I can measure, as opposed to some of these other ones. Now, the bottom one, collect leads for your business, is not one that I've experimented with because it requires a whole other level of documentation to provide to Facebook, terms and conditions, privacy policy created, all of those things basically for Facebook's own liability requirements. And so what I find is it's been simpler, and this hasn't been tested thoroughly enough yet for me to know if I want to spend my money on it. So I prefer to use increased conversions as opposed to the direct collect leads for your business. You may have a different experience, or somebody that might. Those are the things that I use. All right. So I'm going to show you an example of one of my ads so you can get a feel for it. Okay. So this is one that I've used that's been very, very, very popular. Tens of thousands of women like you have seen it. And it highlights all the different sections that you have. This is a conversion objective ad. So it describes a little bit about myself. I left a job I hated, started my own business, replaced my paycheck in the first month. Sound too good to be true? It's not. I'm just a normal girl. If you're a dreamer who's always figured she'd do big things but who's feeling stuck, this is for you. If you've ever been a perfectionist or afraid of failing, this is for you. If you want to be in more control of your destiny, this is for you. I created this free 4-part training series for you. In it, I reveal the steps I took to finally escape my 9-to-5 job, get free, create the money I wanted on my own terms, finally get horses in my life, and create my own success story. And then you have the headline below, and then you have a little bit of supplemental text that only appears in the desktop version, so it's not going to appear if somebody's looking at it on their phone. And it says, you're a dreamer who's always expected great things from yourself, but now you're not sure how to get freedom or actually enjoy your work. And then you have a little subtext that says it's free, click now, and a learn more button. So if they click anywhere on this ad, it's going to take them to a landing page where they can grab my free 4-part audio training series. And that's going to hook in with my email list, which will automatically send them that training for free. And once they sign up, then I will get charged for a conversion. So that's an example of an ad I've used that I've had great success with in my business. All right, let's go on to how much do these things cost, because this is a question I get a lot. And the answer is the amount of money that you can expect to spend is based entirely on how much you want to spend. How much Facebook decides to charge you is based on two things: your desired outcome and your target market. So these ads are an auction, meaning you need to be willing to pay 1 penny more than the next person in order to have your ad shown. And also how many people are competing for those same eyes on the computer, on the phone. Now, I recommend letting Facebook set the cost for you, because instead of setting a manual, I don't want to pay any more than this amount, I recommend you say, just you choose for me, because your target audience is always going to vary. And so I'll give you an example. A lot of my experience in the case study that we're going to talk about is from the horse industry. When I worked with, and so we're doing a lot of international leads, a lot of countries where there aren't a lot of people competing for Facebook ads, and so I found them to be pretty inexpensive. when I ran some ads for a builder years ago who was in the Northern Virginia area during the housing boom, those ads were quite expensive because the market was much more saturated and there were more people competing for those same number of eyes, if that makes sense, that same space. And so we paid multiple dollars for each lead, where sometimes I was paying pennies for leads or whatever in the Middle East, for example, when I'm working with an Arabian horse farm. Facebook will let you spend as little as $1 a day. So in terms of advertising, this is a great way to get started, to get your feet wet, to get comfortable with spending this, investing in your business to get a response, to build your list. And it's highly, highly, highly targetable, like I said. So it's based on your needs. And it's also based on your desired outcome. So if you know that you want to add 1,000 people to your list, then the first thing that you would do is you would say, all right, well, how much on average should I expect a conversion to cost? You could do some research depending on your target market. And an ad might cost you, conversion might cost you between $2 and $3. So if you're going on that average, then you might expect to spend between $2,000 and $3,000 if you want an ad, if you want 1,000 people on your list. So it's truly based on your desired outcome. If you want a bunch of eyeballs on your website, well, it's kind of a descriptive term, a bunch of views on your website, and all you want is for people just to click and build some name recognition, then you're not going to spend as much because the involvement, the value that you're getting from them is lower. And so again, depending on your target market, you're going to be spending maybe a quarter or 2 quarters per click, or maybe less, depending on how great your ad is. And so a lot of this depends on how compelling your ad is, how great your picture is. That's the first thing that's going to get people to stop and click, to read or engage with your post in any way. That's super important. And that could be a whole topic in itself. And then your copy. How interesting is it exactly to the people you want to reach? So all of this comes back to how well do you know your target market? The last webinar I did was called How to Shine in a Crowded Market. And the reason is because so many of my clients are wanting to reach people, but their message, their branding reflects that they don't really know exactly who they're trying to reach. And so if you don't know exactly who you're trying to reach, like you could talk to them like they are a specific person, I do not recommend starting to spend money on Facebook ads yet. It's a waste of money. And you're not going to get the right people, because you're shooting in the dark. So make sure you're clear on your ideal client first, because that's going to inform how you target. And that's what's going to allow you to make use of this highly targetable platform. So I recommend, when answering this question, how much will it cost, that you figure out what you want to achieve with a particular Facebook campaign, and then you back into how much it will cost you to achieve that. Rather than saying, okay, I'm going to spend $5 a day, or I'm going to spend $10 a day because that feels comfortable to me. Well, what are you going to get at the end of a month if you spent $300 or $150? Is it going to be what you want, or are you just going to have spent that amount of money? I always like to approach it from, let's figure out what it is that you want, and then create the campaign, create and design around that. Does that make sense? I hope so. Keep those questions coming. I'm seeing them coming in, and I'm going to get to them here very shortly. Now I want to go to the case study that we talked about. This is a case study for a client called Arabians Limited that I worked with for many years. I worked with them, and I have turned the reins over completely to them so that now I can focus on Life with Passion full time. But during the time that I worked with them for 11 years, I, in the space of about half that time, built their Facebook page from 1,000 likes to now, 86,000 likes. I think my email said 85. It's actually 86, over 86,000 likes. This is from this week. This is their page. And I did that with a number of different tactics and techniques, but what we did first was we got really, really, really clear on who it was they wanted to like their page. They also had a goal. We had a shared goal of making them the largest horse farm of any kind in the world on Facebook. And we achieved that goal a long time ago, a lot a long time before 86,000 likes. And we were able to fill their page with Arabian horse lovers from all over the world. Targeted likes, so that a lot of the leads that they get and a lot of the engagement that they get with their brand in the world anywhere is right through this Facebook page, which is free to run. Of course, any ads that you develop, you pay for, but we were also able to get visitors, local visitors to their farm exclusively using Facebook ads. And so we built up their list, we built up their leads. I was responsible for all their online leads. And they got dozens and dozens of quality leads every single month. And this was because they are the largest Arabian farm in North America, one of the largest in the world. And this was because we utilized the power of Facebook. We tried lots of other different types of ads. I was responsible and in charge of their online marketing budget, which actually wasn't that big for such a big brand, but we squeezed every penny out of it and saw huge growth and huge traction in terms of the qualified leads we were getting in from the U.S. and from all over the world. I mean, countries where it wasn't even legal to ship a horse because of diplomatic relations with the U.S., they were coming and going, I want to buy a horse. How can I buy a horse from you? So really, 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 really powerful tool, which I obviously saw a huge impact with this brand. And by being consistent, by utilizing content people wanted to see, as well as ads, we were able to build that from 1,000 to 86,000. I was solely in charge of running that Facebook page for about 5.5 years. So if you have specific questions on that, go ahead and throw those in the Q&A or raise your hand. Be happy to answer those for you. I do want to get to questions, so we can take some time on that. And then I wanted to show you a much smaller page, but this is one that I really just started in the fall to get my message out there, my message of hope and of going for your dreams and what's possible. So this is a Life with Passion page, and this has all been secondary. I never ran a likes campaign for my page. A lot of it came through, friends of friends liking, those types of things, and also through my conversions campaigns. Like I mentioned earlier, often you get a like button with them, or someone would click over to my page, check it out first, and they would hit like. So I haven't paid for a single like on this page, and it's grown quickly. All right. So now what I want to do is get your burning questions answered with live Q&A. I know that's what you've been waiting for. And so I'm going to start taking questions in the order that they came in. If you have questions that you want to ask in person, I invite you to press *2 on your phone, or press raise hand if you're on your computer, or you are on your phone and you have that option. Sometimes you can see the little button. So *2 or press the raise hand button. And so I'm going to go to the questions that came in first. First, we have one. Let me see here. We have one from Nikki. Nikki asks, what type of conversion do you find most worth your while? Nikki, do you mean what type of objectives? If you mean what type of conversion, because we didn't really talk about like anything specific beyond just the conversions, the conversion objectives, then let me know. Type that in and I will answer your question as soon as it comes in. What type of conversion do you find most worth your while? I'm guessing that you mean objective. And then in that case, I would say it is the conversion objective. But let me know if you mean something different. All right. A question from Cheryl. Christine, when you place a Facebook ad, where does it show up for potential prospects to see? Cheryl, this is a great question. Okay, you have options. You have 5 different options. The 2 that I recommend are desktop newsfeed and mobile news feed. Those are your most valuable real estate on Facebook. That's where people spend most of their time. It's probably you as a Facebook user where you spend most of your time in your news feed. And Facebook shows those ads every so often. I show them every so often, like meaning every so many organic posts from your friends or from, companies' pages that you like. So they don't overwhelm your news feed with ads. They show them every several. And that way they appear where people are scrolling. They look more like posts. And you don't have to look off to the side for this ad or the side for that ad. When you go in through Ads Manager, it gives you a preview and it gives you the option to choose where these are going to go. It automatically checks all 5 for you. I recommend you check off everything except desktop newsfeed and mobile newsfeed. And I actually recommend that you separate those 2 and create one ad set just for desktop. So only one location selected and one ad set for mobile newsfeed. All right. And those 2 things are where I would start. Now, Facebook bought Instagram, and so Instagram has recently, just this year, begun offering Instagram ads, and they're integrated with the Facebook ads platform. So you can offer Instagram ads too. If you're visible on Instagram, then that might be something to consider. I recommend choosing a separate ad campaign for that as well. So that you're really, really clear on which placement gets you the best conversion, gets you the best cost, all of that, rather than them being an average. And sometimes, depending on the audience, your audience could just largely be using mobile, or they could largely be using desktop, depending on age and demographic and all those things, or they could just be on Instagram. And you want to get a really clear picture of where your people are and how much they're costing you. Okay? Great question, Cheryl. Let me know if you have any follow-ups to that. I've got a question from Allie here. It says, how do you come up with a marketing strategy that's right for your niche and your ideal clients? How do you know it's the right strategy? Great question, Allie. That is quite an involved question, so we'll take it a little bit at a time, and I'm happy to answer it further if you have follow-ups. But how do you come up with a marketing strategy that's right for your niche and your ideal clients? All right. Often, your niche and your ideal clients are people who are like you, except a few steps behind you, maybe even just a half step behind you. They haven't yet learned what you learn. I work with women who are in a place like I was years ago, hating my 9-to-5, because I know how that feels and I know how to get them out of it. So often, coming up with a marketing strategy has to do with your own online behavior, or maybe your own online behavior when you were your ideal client. What types of stuff were you interested in? What types of brands did you like? What types of pages? What types of content? What types of buzzwords? Those can all help you with your targeting. And it's really important to start very, very, very simple. I recommend 1 or 2 at the most platforms that you start with for your marketing strategy when you're on your own and you don't have a team and you're doing this on the side. It's much better to do that well than to get overwhelmed. I was speaking with somebody last week. We were doing a one-time intensive, and they said, I have, 5 different platforms that I'm active on, but I'm not keeping up with all of them. And I said, whoa, you need to back up. You need to be consistent, and you need to be consistent on the ones that you enjoy the most, because chances are that's where your ideal client is. So that is where I would start as a very organic, natural approach. And then how do you know it's the right strategy? Well, it depends on your objective, right? It depends on what you want to get out of it. Are you wanting to get people into your Facebook group? Are you wanting to get people onto your page? Are you wanting to get people engaged? Are you wanting to get people recognizing who you are? Are you wanting to get people on your email list? You decide what matters to you based on the way that you communicate with them best, and that's how you reach them. You ask them to interact with you in that way. It depends a lot on your market. It depends a lot on what you're trying to nurture and what also you're trying to sell. What's the level of sale? A private high-end coaching package like mine is not something that, someone's just gonna walk in and say, yep, here it is, chances are they want to get to know me first. They want to get to know my story. They want to get to know my clients' successes. They want to get to know whether they connect with me, because it's a huge trust factor, even besides the money, to find out if you what you offer, and to find out if you're a good fit. So that's why I do free calls, because I'm very good at finding out if someone's a good fit, and it's too important to both of our time to work with somebody that you're not a good fit with. And so just as often as I invite people to work with me, I will also tell them, you know what, like, I think somebody else is going to be a better support for you. Here, let me give you some names. Or, you know, you sound like an amazing person, but I think that the kind of support that you need is X, Y, and Z, where I'm focusing on A, B, and C. So I think it's really, really, really important to think about what you want the end game to be, and then to back into the strategy from there. And then you can assess whether it's working. I hope that helps, Sally. All right, next question, Caitlin. What program do you use to create and host your audio trainings, or is there an app for your website? I'm using Instant Teleseminar right now, Caitlin. There are a bunch out there. This is the one that I have used, and so this is the one that I am most familiar with, called instantteleseminar.com. Hope that answers that question. Do you offer help? This one doesn't say who it's from. Do you offer help creating the right Facebook ad? How much do you charge? Right now, I'm focusing on supporting women in my mentorship, and so that's something that I offer as part of my high-level mentorship, but I'm not accepting new clients just for the Facebook ads, because I really want to be part of the whole strategy and process with you, and I feel like mindset and developing that whole business strategy and all of those parts that are so important to you are so important. I want to set you up for success, and Facebook ads and strategy is an important piece of that, but it is just a piece. And so I'm working on the whole pie, if you will. Okay. Caitlin, thank you for that question. Caitlin asks again, I haven't monetized my blogger website yet, but I want to grow my list, but I have community built when I do have an offer. Is spending money on advertising wise for me? Yeah, if you want to grow your list, then I would absolutely build your community right now. And I would definitely do that through advertising if you have a budget and if you're consistent with your organic presence. So if you have a blog, are you blogging very regularly? Do you know exactly who you're talking to? Again, coming back to that ideal client. Do you have an offer that you know is of value to your ideal client, that is worth money, that you're giving away for free? That's the best kind of opt-in, to trade the value of your work and your expertise for the value of their email address so that you can continue to communicate with them. That's the best kind of opt-in, and knowing whether or not it's good and fabulous for your ideal client comes from knowing who that person is. So again, back to that question. But the great thing, again, about Facebook ads is that you can spend a tiny, tiny, tiny amount and test it out and see if you're bringing in the people that you want to. But I would say that it's important to develop a social media presence first, and you actually have to have a Facebook business page before you can run ads. So you want to get that populated with content before you start running those ads, and also make sure you know every single thing that you can about your ideal client before you start advertising, so you're not wasting your money or anyone else's time. If you saw my office, which is a pretty big room, it has poster board sized sticky notes lining every wall of who my ideal client is, what are her dreams, why does she want to work with me, what's she held back by, and how do I help her? Because that really, really helps me stay grounded, know who I'm talking to, know if I'm a good fit to work with someone, and know how to develop all my messaging, all my content, all my marketing. Does that answer that? Great question, Caitlin. All right. Anybody else have a Q&A question that they want to type in? I'm going to check and see if we've got any hands raised. Again, you can press *2 to raise your hand, or you can hit the raise hand button. We're waiting to see if there are any more questions that are going to come in. I am going to invite every single one of you to join me, if you're not already, in my amazing Facebook group. If you're on a computer, this is a live link to the Facebook page, or the Facebook group, Life with Passion Society. You can request to join. It is an amazing group for high-achieving, driven, especially animal-loving women. I have not seen another Facebook group like it. You get free support from me every day and other women who are on the same journey to leaving their jobs, to starting or building the businesses of their dreams. You ask your questions. You can come with your bad days and get super, super encouraged and motivated again. It is a group that I just absolutely love supporting, and their women are from around the world and doing amazing things. We're all chasing our dreams together. So you can go to lifewithpassion.com, or I'm sorry, Life with Passion Society on Facebook. Again, if you want to book a call with me, you can apply to do that at lifewithpassion.com/clarity and learn a little bit more about me and what I offer and if it's a good fit for you. I'm so, so, so glad that you've joined me today. You all have asked some awesome questions and really, really insightful ones. You are welcome to email me with any follow-up questions, Christine@lifewithpassion.com. And I, again, hope you'll visit my website, Life with Passion, and also join our Facebook group. Join us, totally free. Lots of inspiration there on how you can quit your job. Lots of cute animal photos there too, which is something that we all share and is a real distinctive of the Life with Passion community. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will look forward to connecting with you online, on the phone, in person, whatever in the future. Stephanie says, thank you, Christine. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. You all enjoy the rest of your Saturday, however much is left of it. I know I have women joining us from around the world, and I will look forward to talking to you soon. Happy Saturday. Have a great weekend. Bye.